So what if I told you the secret to a better life isn't about some massive, life-altering change? What if it's about doing something tiny, almost invisible? Well, today we're diving into James Clear's game-changing book, Atomic Habits, to see how the smallest changes can lead to, well, truly remarkable results.
Let's just start with the core idea, because this one is a biggie. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. I mean, wow. That just flips everything we've been taught about success on its head, right? It's basically saying we've been looking at the wrong thing this whole time. We're all staring at the finish line when we really should be focused on just taking the first step.
And to really get why this idea is so powerful, we have to start with James Clear's own story. And believe me, it's a moment that almost ended everything for him.
Okay, picture this. He's a sophomore in high school. During baseball practice, a bat slips out of a teammate's hands, flies through the air, and hits him square in the face. We're talking a shattered nose, multiple skull fractures, and a really serious brain injury. Just a total freak accident.
It was bad. The swelling in his brain got so dangerous, so fast, the doctors had no choice but to put him into a medically induced coma. You can only imagine what his parents were going through. The road to recovery was going to be incredibly long.
And here's the thing. His comeback wasn't some miracle moment. There was no giant leap. It was just a slow, steady climb, built on one small, consistent habit after another. In a way, that hospital bed was the first place he started testing out all the ideas that would eventually end up in this book.
So, this whole personal journey led him straight to the core concept of atomic habits, the absolutely mind-blowing power of getting just a tiny bit better.
And he saw this exact same idea completely revolutionize professional cycling. You see, for almost 100 years, British cycling was, well, they were just okay, kind of mediocre. But then they brought in a new guy, a new performance director, who had this one simple philosophy: the aggregation of marginal gains.
And when I say they looked at everything, I mean everything. The level of detail here is just wild. They redesigned bike seats, sure, but they also tested the best massaging gels. They figured out the best way for the cyclists to wash their hands to avoid getting sick. They even tested the pillows the riders slept on to see which ones gave them the best night's sleep. Each one was just a tiny 1% improvement that, when you added them all up, led to total domination at the Olympics and the Tour de France.
And that's because habits are basically the compound interest of self-improvement. It's just like how money multiplies with compound interest. The effect of your habits multiplies every time you repeat them. You know, a small improvement seems like nothing on day one, but over years, the impact is staggering. And of course, the scary part is the exact same thing is true for our bad habits. Which brings us right back to that quote from the beginning. If these tiny 1% gains are the secret sauce, then we really need to shift our focus away from the destination and onto the journey itself.
So Clear makes this brilliant distinction, right? A goal is the result you want. A system is the process that gets you there. So the goal is winning the championship. The system? That's how you practice, how you manage your team, how you scout for players every single day. Goals are great for setting a direction, but it's the systems that actually get you moving.
And here's the question that really changes everything. Just think about this for a second. If winners and losers have the exact same goals, then what is it that actually makes the difference? Every single athlete at the Olympics wants to win a gold medal. Every startup wants to be the next big thing. So the goal itself can't be what separates them. The difference has to be the system.
So here's the real mental shift. When you fall in love with the process instead of just the end product, you don't have to wait around to be happy. You can get that little jolt of satisfaction anytime you're just running your system. And that totally protects you from that empty feeling of, what now? After you finally hit that big goal.
Okay, so if building better systems is the answer, how do we actually do it? Well, this is where it gets super practical. Clear breaks it all down into a simple, memorable 4-step framework.
These 4 laws are like a user's manual for the human brain. It's genius. To build a good habit, you just walk through the steps. You make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And if you want to break a bad habit, you just flip them. You make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. Let's see how this works. First up, make it obvious. This is all about becoming the architect of your own environment. You want the cues for your good habits to be impossible to miss. Clear tells this great little story about how he'd buy apples, stick them in the crisper drawer in his fridge, and then completely forget they existed. As soon as he put them in a big bowl right on the kitchen counter, boom, he started eating apples every day. It's a perfect, simple example of how our space shapes what we do. Law number 2, make it attractive. We are social animals, right?
One of our deepest human desires is to fit in, to belong. Think about the Polgar sisters. All three of them became chess grandmasters. Why? Because their father created an environment where playing chess all day was just normal behavior. So if you want to make a habit attractive, you got to find your tribe. Surround yourself with people who are already doing what you want to be doing.
And now let's jump to the fourth law, make it satisfying. Here's the deal. Our brains are hardwired to want immediate rewards. It's just how we evolved. That's why it's so easy to buy a fancy coffee right now, but so hard to save for retirement in 40 years. So to make a habit stick, you have to give yourself an immediate win. There's this story about a stockbroker, Trent Deersmit, who used 2 jars. One was full of 120 paper clips, the other was empty. Every time he made a sales call, he just moved 1 paper clip over. That little visual cue of progress, that tiny, satisfying action, kept him going day after day.
All right, so we've covered making habits obvious, attractive, and satisfying. But wait a second, what about the third law? Make it easy. I saved it for last on purpose, because this one might be the biggest game changer of them all, and it's powered by one ridiculously simple technique.
It's called the 2-minute rule, and the rule is simple. Any new habit you start should take less than 2 minutes to do. Now, the point isn't to only work for 2 minutes. The point is to master the art of showing up. A new habit shouldn't feel like this huge challenge. The beginning has to be so easy, so simple, that you just can't say no. Once you've started, the rest can follow naturally.
And just look at how this works. Run a marathon is a huge goal, right? It's intimidating. But put on my running shoes? Anyone can do that. Read before bed each night becomes read 1 page. Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. You're just making the starting ritual automatic. You can't improve a habit that you never start. So you make the beginning so easy, it's almost effortless.
And that really is the ultimate message of this whole thing. Real, lasting change doesn't come from some massive earthquake of an event. It comes from hundreds of tiny, everyday decisions that add up over time. It all starts with moving 1 paperclip or reading 1 page or just putting on your running shoes. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What's your 2-minute habit? What's that one tiny, easy thing you could start doing today that could set you on a path to a completely different life?